السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Hello my darlings, how are you? Today we will do a quick revision before the exam on the two lessons, which are the cell and the importance of the sunlight. Okay, starting with the first lesson, which is the cell and the building on it of the living organism. As we've learned before, that the body is consisting of a group of systems and each system consisting of a group of organs. And we've learned in this lesson that the organs consisting of a group of tissues, and in the same manner the tissues consisting of asymmetric cells, a group of cells. So we classify the living organisms according to the number of cells they have into multicellular living organism and unicellular living organism. Multicellular living organisms mean that they have more than one cell, but unicellular living organism mean that they have only one cell. They consisting of one cell. An example of the multicellular living organisms, the humans or the animals, even the plants, all of them have many cells in their bodies. And an example of the unicellular living organisms, they are all of the organisms that have only one cell. So starting with the multicellular living organisms, we will study first the human or the animal body. Well, taking for example the digestive system of the human, we've learned that the human digestive system consisting of a group of organs, and the stomach is one of them. This stomach is consisting of a group of tissues, and these tissues is consisting of a group of animal cells. Why we called it animal cells, though it found in the human body? Well, the cells of the human and the cells of the animals all called one specific definition, which is the animal cell. Second, the plant body. If we have a plant in this picture, it consisting of two parts. The first part, which is the root system, and the second part is the shoot system. The root system containing the roots of the plant, and the shoot system consisting of the green parts and the fruits. Okay, what about the organs in the plant? The plant containing a lot of organs. The leaves is one of these organs. What else? The root is an organ, and the stem is an organ. This stick right here is the stem, and the root is an organ too. These organs of the plants consisting of a group of tissues, and these tissues different from these tissues. These tissues are belongs to the plant, and the tissue of the plant consisting of a number of the plant cells. We want now to give it a definition. The cell. The cell is the building unit of the living organism, as the rock build the wall. Now we want to study the plant cell and the animal cell and the structure of these two cells. Starting with the cell consisting of the cell wall. This cell wall is surrounding the plant from the outside. Its function that it support the plant cell and give it a definite shape. The second part from the plant cell is the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the part that is follow the cell wall, and of course it have a specific function. The cytoplasm, which is the liquid in the cell, and the nucleus is the large body inside the cell. The green plastids that absorb the sunlight for the plants to make its own food by the process which is called the photosynthesis process. And the last thing, which is the subvacuole. The structure of the plant cell is very important, as well the function of each one of them. Okay, moving now to the structure of the animal cell. The animal cell consisting of first from the plasma membrane, and second from the cytoplasm, which is the liquid inside the cell, the nucleus, and finally the small vacuoles. And of course, as well, we want to know the function of each one of them and to know the difference between the structure in the animal cell and the plant cell. Now moving to the unicellular living organisms. Well, they are integrated living organisms that can be seen by the naked eye. We can see them. For example, like the bacteria and the yeast fungus. Well, this is the cell of the yeast fungus. It consisting of the cell wall, the vacuoles, and the cytoplasm, the nucleus, and it doesn't have the green plastids or the chloroplasts. And if we examine it under the microscope, we will find it like this or like this, and it is used to make the bread and alcohol. So this is the end of the cell lesson, and now transferring to the importance of the sunlight to living organisms. Starting with the definition of the photosynthesis process. Well, it is the biological operation that takes place in the green parts. The green parts in the plant, it is the only part that create the photosynthesis process or perform it to make the food inside the plant. So the plants make their own food by a process called the photosynthesis process. But how that does occur? Well, the plants take the sunlight, the carbon dioxide, water, and mineral salts and produce sugar or starch with the oxygen gas. So this is the evolving materials from the photosynthesis process, or the product. Now discussing the types of the living organisms, we have the producers, the consumers, and the decomposers. Starting with the producers. The producers is the living organisms that can make their own food by themselves, and of course through the photosynthesis process as we discussed seconds before. And the only organism that can make the photosynthesis process, its cells must have chloroplasts so that they can absorb the sunlight and perform the photosynthesis process to create their own food. And these organisms called the producers. We have many examples about the producers like the green plants, the green algae, and some types of the bacteria. Okay, moving to the consumers. The consumers are living organisms that depend on the producers to get their own food by feeding on them. And we have types of the consumers. The first type, which is the consumers that feed on the producers. As for the humans, we feed on some types of the fruits and vegetables, and these two are plants. So the plants are producers. And as we feed on them, we consumers that feed on producers. The second type, which is the consumers, feed on the consumers. And taking also the human feed on the chicken, for example, and the chicken feed on the plants. So the chickens are consumers as they feed on producers, but as we consume them or feed on them, so that we consumers that feed on consumers. Okay, the last type of the organism, which is the decomposers. The decomposers are the living organisms that get their foods by decomposing the organic wastes, but not only the organic waste, it also feed on the dead bodies and the plant remains and the decayed food. So the decomposers get rid of the dead bodies, and without them the plants will be filled with the dead bodies from the animals, even from the humans. Examples for the decomposers, well, the decomposers is used for some useful benefits that we use it to create some types of yogurt, like some types of fungi and yeast fungus and bread mold fungus. And of course there is some importance of the decomposers, that they help us to get rid of the bodies of the dead organisms and the plant's remains, as we say now. They increase the soil fertility, and they are used in a lot of industries as making the yogurt. And we've reached to the end of the revision, and I hope all of the best wishes for all of you. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.